What changed in your head when you realized that it was like, okay, this is
non-negotiable? You said, there's certain things not that you don't tolerate anymore.
Well, it all came to a head, and he
got me hanging,
fist
dude.
pumping.
That's that extended over.
I love the teamwork.
Good question.
So it came to a head where what happened was so blatantly, obviously not okay, you know, because they kind of do little things here and there, and then all of a sudden it was like, all right, I'm not putting up with that.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of
Coffee Breakup.
Yes, starring Marvin Schultz, myself, Christian Vieira. If you're watching us right now, you would be on
Patreon. I was gonna say Spotify.
Well, if you're listening to us, yes, you would be hearing this part on Spotify and iTunes. Full episodes are still available there. If you want to watch us on screen, on the big screen,
You'll be on Patreon.
It will be on Patreon.
Absolutely.
Yes, link down here.
Yeah, and we appreciate everybody who subscribes and who gives her their support. It means so much to you guys have no idea. It's just $5 a month, which is nothing. It's like a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Not even.
Listen, we don't make any money on this. So if you think we're millionaires, we're not. We don't make shit, okay? So if you subscribe, you're helping us tons, let me tell you. Number one. But it's going to get to the point that, maybe we do make it, but it's all going to be because you guys push us. The wind beneath our wings starts with you guys.
Love it.
So we're on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter.
Got a website, thecoffeebreakup.com. Check us out. We got some merch. Really exciting new things coming soon in the new year.
We do have some new stuff coming in, so stay tuned for that. We got a huge surprise for you guys around the new year, almost on our anniversary. For those of you who don't know, Valentine's Day is when we launched the podcast.
It's going to be 3 years.
It is going to be 3 years. By the time this episode comes out, who knows when it's going to be, kind of what the weeks. But very soon, we do make our 3 weeks. I mean, this is a very long intro. I'm sorry, I'm making you wait. But we also do have a guest. We have a guest today.
We do. We got Stevie on us.
Thank you, Stevie. We'll talk about all this bullshit later.
What's up?
On to the guest.
No, keep going. I love it. I think it's great.
No,
we'll do it at the end. It'll tie in at the end.
We'll tie it back in.
It'll make sense.
Guys, subscribe to them because I heard a little bit about their story when we first started talking, and I have so much respect because as an entrepreneur, I know a lot of people have this misconception like, oh, you have 80-something thousand followers. You're probably rolling up in a Lambo. It's not true.
No.
The first 5 years is really the hardest in a new business, and your studio is like dope.
What do you think? You like it?
And honestly, the least someone could do is pay you a subscription monthly to listen to your podcast.
Yeah, that would be nice. It's super supportive.
Help us out.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
So, Stevie, how are you? Thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you for having me.
No, we're on it. You had reached out a couple weeks ago, almost.
2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. You said, "Hey, listen, I have something to share.
Yeah.
I want to be on the show. Let's make this happen."
I think it was to me, right? I spoke to you originally.
I DM'd both of you because I was like, they have a big following, so I'm just gonna go straight to them.
Good, smart, smart. Because those DMs, they start to get flooded.
I know.
I start feeling like an Insta, like one of these Insta.
It's like in the request. I'm like, what is this? Half of it is nonsense. And then I saw your message, but you were talking to Chris as well, and Chris was telling me about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw her message. And you said something, you're a single mom, you have your own business.
Yes.
At the time, the episode that was out was, I think it was, we had who did we have on? We had Karen on, and we're kind of doing like a single moms kind of series where we have a lot of these women who they work so hard, and we bring them on and they share their stories, and it's incredible what they've undergone and what they've persevered. And so we bring out those episodes, and I think you saw a clip, and you're like, hey, listen, I want to share my story, what I'm going through or what I've been through. And so, and that's a goal, we're trying to create a platform where people can come on and be vulnerable, be honest. And that's the goal of the Coffee Breakup, where people can come on and be honest with themselves. And so he had reached out, and we're like, you know what, let's do this. Let's make this happen. So
you gave us a little bit of foundation, and I was like, damn, we got to get this going on.
Yeah, for sure.
So, of course, so without further ado, if you would love to start, by introducing yourself, a little bit about yourself.
Briefly,
Okay. My name is Stevi, and I am a single mom. My son is 3.5, and I'm obsessed with him. And I am also a business owner. I own a company called The Ink Angel, and we're the fastest growing permanent makeup cosmetic tattoo studio in Fort Lauderdale right now. And I started my business as a newly single mom, heartbroken, with no money, like down in the dumps. And Yeah. My Instagram is at @the_Ink Angel. My personal Instagram is the Stevi D. Follow me. If you're a creep, please don't follow me.
No creeps in here.
But if you want your brows done, I got you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what's the story of the inception of the business? You had said that you just started it when you were, I guess, freshly single.
Yeah.
Also, well, yeah, you had a child at that point as well. So before we get into that story, how was it starting a business kind of during this whole entire, and you said, how long have you had the business for?
It's been about 2 years now.
So this was pandemic-ish.
Yeah.
How was that like?
It was insane because we were going through our breakup during the pandemic. That's when our initial, like, I guess, issue happened. I don't want to say too many details and throw my son's dad under the bus.
Of course, no, of course.
But that was when we first started having some big problems, and I realized I'm gonna be a single mom. So in my 20s, I spent the majority of my 20s as a sales executive in the bodybuilding supplement industry. So I was making this corporate, like, cushy salary, a couple hundred G's a year, and I got laid off in 2020. And my son's dad was like, I'll take care of you. Just raise our son. And I was in heaven. Like, it was literally, I look back on that time of my life and it was like heaven. Because I was just cooking, cleaning, taking care of my son. And I was so happy. And then what happened. And I was like, I'm going to need to make some money. But I refused to go back to corporate. I just refused. So I took a course on how to tattoo brows. And I remember the moment I learned, I was like, this is what I was put on earth to do. Like, this is it. Really? Other than being a mom, like, that was it. And I started Ink Angel, and I was literally I moved out and I had no money. So the only place I could afford was, I like went on Facebook Marketplace, and I gave this guy like $1,500 for a monthly rental because it was in Victoria Park. You know, I'm thinking, oh, it's a good area, I'll be fine. It's a studio apartment. I get there and it's an abandoned house, and it was a bungalow behind the abandoned house. So it was basically a shack. And I spent a month in that place. It was freezing cold. We couldn't use a heater. So I was in there with my son, like layering blankets over him. He'd go to sleep. I would put the comforter over my head and open up my laptop and just like literally pray to God someone would book with me. And that's how I started Ink Angel. And I think that grind, like, I can't even get into how I built the business because it was so much work. But I was like DMing, like, if I had my son in his little school, those hours that he was being taken care of, I was hustling my ass off. And I was also really heartbroken, you know, because I loved my son's dad like a lot. So that time in my life was it's hard for me to even talk about it without even like crying, because it was such a nightmare. And then that month, I had already been tattooing for like 2 months. I had a studio that I was renting. And so when I moved out, I was like on month 3 of my business. And that month, I hit 11 grand in my business.
Jesus.
Tattooing.
Impressive.
11.
And I remember just sobbing and being like, holy shit. Can I cuss on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
We gotta have a disclaimer because everyone cusses and they always ask that.
Thank,
you can.
Thank God.
I thought we already did anyway.
No. But we appreciate you for like asking like afterwards. So.
Anyways,
so then I started kind of getting, because it was COVID, everything was really expensive too. To find a place to rent was so expensive. Yeah. I didn't have the best credit, and I didn't have any help, you know, financially from anyone. So I literally bootstrapped my business, and I feel like it kind of bootstrapped my life too. And then I had this little baby, just like everything, you know, to him was like, everything was funny.
Yeah. So, how did you balance like having the child with the growth of your business? Because, for example, like, how did you get to that $11,000 mark?
I would wake up at 5 a.m. while he was still sleeping, sometimes like 4 a.m.
How old is he at this time?
He was like 18 months old.
Oh, okay.
He was just under 2. So He would not really sleep through the night. Sometimes he wants to wake up and play and like snuggle with me. But I was determined to not make that experience a bad memory for him, you know? So like he'd wake up and it would be playtime and I'd like literally just fake it, even if I was really upset.
Really?
Because I couldn't have that memory be sad for him.
It's tough.
I know. It was horrible.
It's because once you have a child, like, you know, you're no longer you.
I can't sit down and cry. I couldn't even be sad.
It's tough. Can you imagine? Because how often do we say, like, man, sometimes you just got to get a good cry, you know? Like, it's okay, you know? But
I couldn't even get a good cry.
That's what I'm saying.
Because then I had clients who were calling me and I'd be like, literally in the middle of a shack, like, hi, how are you? Oh, your brows look amazing. Yes, let's get you booked. Da 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 da. And then I'd hang up the phone and then I'd be DMing influencers. Like, I didn't stop. A lot of it was Instagram. I'd be editing photos. I'd go to my studio and I'd be like filming content. And a lot of it was just, if I had a empty space with no client, I would get somebody in there and make content with them. Like, I did not, I don't know exactly the strategy, but I just knew, like, if I stop, I'm gonna just fall apart. But if I keep going, I can like take this like horrible experience and make something out of it. And it wound up being like the best thing that ever happened to me, because I love what I do now and I really like my life now.
Obviously, so much has happened. How old was the baby when you and the father separated?
He was, at that time, he was 18 months old. Yeah. So he was just over a year and a half.
When the business started.
And then that's when you guys separated at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was the process of, and I don't want to know what happened, but I'm curious to know the process for you to say, you know, how was that walking away from the father of your child, being a single mom, like all those emotions, all those things, moving parts. What was that like? If you can maybe recall.
It was like, oh God, I remember like it was yesterday. I felt like war. Like, because I feel like, you know, everybody who has a co-parent, you know, some people, they leave because they're not in love with them anymore. Some people leave because something bad happened. It just, everybody's story is different. Yeah. My situation, I knew him for a long time before we got together. We had a kid very fast. It wasn't planned. And then something started happening during my pregnancy. And basically it was like certain things that I'll allow in my life, like deal breakers, just started happening. And then the red flags, if you will. But I really, really loved him, like so much. And I just also really wanted my family together.
You love him, I'm sorry, but did you love him because you felt like you needed to because you had a child with him? You felt like it would make the family whole?
No, I really loved him, like a lot. And it was hard because you're dealing with, I was dealing with a person who had one side and then another side, you know, like without sharing too many details. It was like this kind of up and down roller coaster,
it's kind of
if you will.
difficult to kind of be yourself when you don't know who you're dealing with.
I don't know what to expect.
Right.
So I think COVID, when it started coming to an end, it brought that other side out that I was like, I can't have this around my son. You know, I think if I didn't have my son, I probably would have stayed in an unhealthy, toxic situation. And it was me having to look at my son and being like, okay, I love this man. And I kind of maybe think, oh, maybe he'll change, maybe he won't. But I don't have time to like be patient with him changing or not, because I have a son and he is only going to be this little once. Sure. So what happened is we went through a few instances where I like gave him a chance, one too many chances. And then finally, when the final thing happened, it was not, it was very sudden. Like I literally there was an incident and I had to just pack my bags and go. And I was in my car, like we actually went to a hotel room for 2 nights and I couldn't afford a nice hotel. So we were like in a bad area and I went to like, I remember I was so desperate. I went to an extended stay place because I was like, oh, maybe I could just rent here weekly. This is the place I was at and I didn't have like money. So I went into the extended stay place and the guy at the front desk was like, don't stay here. Like, absolutely don't stay here. He's like, do you understand what goes on here? Like, you're going to get like robbed, raped. He's like, leave. Like, the guy at the front desk was literally like, leave. So that's when I was like, oh, this is hard.
Something needs to change.
Where do I go now?
Where do I go now? And then I wound up at a shack in Victoria Park.
That's a little safer. A bungalow in the backyard.
Yeah, a bungalow. I was like, this is not a bungalow.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Obviously, that sounds like it's traumatizing, but you also like it's almost like you're about to have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah,
you have to hold it together because you're having like a child.
Yeah,
you know, an infant baby almost that you have to care for and be responsible for.
Yeah.
But the child was the reason why you reflected on yourself, but almost indirectly, because you didn't want that environment for your child, but to a certain degree, you didn't want it for yourself.
No.
But you didn't know that until you had your child.
Exactly.
What the...
Wild,
I kind of
right?
want to peel back the layers, but there's only so much because I know
keep going. No, keep going, because it come like if you ask me something and I'm not comfortable, like I'm very
editing.
Yeah, because my biggest thing, and you can even post this. Like, I don't want to say because my son's dad is a great dad.
Yeah, you told us that before off air.
Yeah, and I don't want to say details that, you know, my son's going to have to watch later.
Right.
Or, you know, it's just not fair.
No,
but
I get that.
Ask me anything. And if I'm like, no, I can't.
It's just because what I'm curious is, and I'm sure that many other women, people in general, probably go through it as well.
Yeah.
Because there's certain activities, or maybe there's certain things that you probably had to experience that you probably thought they were okay. And then you had your son and you said, no.
Exactly.
My question to you would have been,
what are those?
What may have those experiences been? Because maybe there's someone watching saying, well, I'm currently going through that.
Yeah.
You know, if you feel comfortable saying it, I'm currently going through that. And clearly this isn't okay. Yet in my mind, just like you probably thought it was fine. But once you had your child, you're like, no. So maybe that person's waiting to hear what those are.
So for me, they were things that I never thought were okay. But it was more things... They were things that I feel like any woman like it's not okay. You know, like when it comes to certain activities, extracurricular activities that you can partake in South Florida, where you're going, what time you're coming home at night, what time you're not coming home at night. When you are you loyal? Are you not? Are you making your woman feel secure, feel safe? You know, like, but I feel like for my situation, I had known him for so long, and I know that other side of him. I kept thinking, there's no way he's really like this. There's no way he'll change. You know, it happened one time in the last 6 months. It won't happen again. Maybe this time he'll change, because when he's good, he's amazing.
Great. Yeah, when he's great, it's great.
And then one weekend will just throw everything into chaos. And for me, I didn't grow up in a household like that. Like, both of my parents are still married. Neither of them drink or do drugs or alcohol or anything. Like, my father is amazing to my mother. I grew up in a very secure household, so I don't really know why I put up with some of the stuff that I did, other than the fact that I really loved him as a person, because I knew him for so long before we got together. Like almost 5 years.
Okay.
And I never knew about certain things, which is crazy.
Exposed to different
and then you became a mom, and you feel like, was it like a light switch? Like, okay, I knew this wasn't okay before, but now that I'm a mother,
good question.
that is just kind of like, does it change?
What changed in your head when you realized that it was like, okay, this is
non-negotiable? You said, there's certain things not that you don't tolerate anymore.
Well, it all came to a head, and he
got me hanging,
fist
dude.
pumping.
That's I extended over.
I love the teamwork.
Good question.
So it came to a head where what happened was so blatantly, obviously not okay, you know, because they kind of do little things here and there, and then all of a sudden it was like, all right, I'm not putting up with that at all.
Did it happen? Was this like a multiple occurrence at this point?
Yeah. And it was kind of like one times too many, where I was like, I am done.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think it is? Because like, let's say if I don't have kids, but I feel like once I do with somebody that I claim to love, I feel like I would do anything that I could possibly do to A, not end up in that position and just provide a better life for them. What do you think in general that some of these guys, because we've heard it all the time, I'm pregnant, I have a kid, and all of a sudden they switch up or they do something that they shouldn't be doing. Obvious stuff. Like you have a kid, why are you coming home at 2 a.m. and at night? You have a family to have.
That'd be early.
What I'm saying,
Damn.
Bar closed. You gotta. That's early.
I'd be thankful for that.
Yeah, but exactly to that extent, what do you feel like goes on through their minds?
You know what I think? Because when you become a parent, all of your past traumas come out. And like I have been through a lot, but I've also been through a lot of therapy and I've done a lot of work on myself.
Good.
And I think what happens is men, it's not cool to go to therapy. It's not cool to talk about your feelings. And especially, you know, my son's father is Middle Eastern. It's really not. They don't talk about feelings.
You're a traveler, so you know about this more than I do.
No, like Middle Eastern, it's very conservative, very like feelings and like opening up and mental health is like doesn't exist. It's like you don't talk about it.
No,
it's not even. Do you think like Hispanic things? You think Hispanic men are closed off? Middle Eastern men are beyond
brick walls.
Yeah. It's like giving, like it's like you're giving up, like mental health. It's like a sickness. Oh, like I'm not sick. I don't need this.
Exactly.
In that level, I feel like, and so okay, like that somewhat explains some of the stuff. Yeah.
So I think like, wait, are you Middle Eastern?
No, I'm not. But I'm
German.
But I'm from Germany. I know a lot of people who are Middle Eastern.
Yeah. He's also traveled a lot.
I travel a lot.
And your name's Marvin? That makes no sense.
No. Marvin Schultz, German as name. No.
Is Marvin a German name?
Marvin is an American name, I think.
Exactly.
But Schultz is a German name.
Is not,
Yeah. But no, I have a lot of friends who are Middle Eastern, and I grew up with them, and so in a way, I kind of know how their mentality is. And they're great people, but when it comes to some of these things, like the stigma of mental health, it's very, very, very significant in their culture.
Yeah, and they're very black and white, and you don't drink, period, you know? And like if your family finds out you're drinking, it's horrible. And like, God forbid they find out you do anything else. And I feel like it's, you know, it's you're shamed for things that maybe instead of shaming them, you should be trying to figure out a way to help them and be there for them. And I feel like what happened, I think in my son's dad's case, I really don't think he's a bad person. He's actually still to this day, I think he's one of the best people I know. He's one of my best friends and I love him dearly, but he just has his own issues, his own shit that he, you know, he'll tell you like, I'm okay, you know, I'm good with myself, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, sure. Like keep doing the same things you've been doing since you were in your 20s and see how that works for you. But I think that's what happens with men like that, because they have to look in the mirror because you're responsible for another human being. And in my situation, for example, I could have either like fallen apart and become a deadbeat mom, you know, like hopefully that doesn't piss anyone off, but like I really probably could have been like, you know what, I'm just gonna escape and like start doing drugs and drinking because like mentally I can't handle this right now. But instead I decided to just keep going and put myself aside for my son. And I feel like men, they usually don't know how to do that. And then all these feelings come up, and when things get stressful like COVID or bills or finances, or you know, you go through hormonal changes too. Even as a man, from being around your baby's mom, your body goes through hormones. Your testosterone drops.
Pheromones.
Yeah, your testosterone literally drops in the first year your baby's born. So like men go through hormonal changes too. And it's just, I don't think men are, I feel bad for the modern male. I think we're starting to wake up, but I feel like a lot of men have mental health issues and they don't seek help because people just say like, oh yeah, it's cool like to go out and party. It's cool to, you know, have a bunch of women on the hook. It's cool to, you know, like have your girl do everything. And it's really not gonna work. And look at all of our family units are falling apart. I think a lot of keeping a family together, men have a much bigger role in that than I think they realize.
That is so true.
Yeah, you think so?
That men have a big role in keeping the family united.
I agree.
A huge role.
I think what she's saying is like a lot of people, men don't understand how significant.
Oh yeah,
that is what I'm thinking, because I'm trying to put it all together. Like, yeah, like a lot of men just think, oh, like I'll bring in the money and then that's enough. I don't think that's true.
No, look at my case. He paid for everything, and I literally was ready to go be on the streets because the chaos was that bad.
Let me ask you, if I may, because I remember there was a time, because you were working, well, you had stopped working when you got with him. He wanted this, you wanted this.
I got laid off. So it was beginning of COVID, and I remember just crying when I got that phone call, because a big part of my identity was my career. I was a career-driven woman, and he was always very supportive of that. You know, he was never like, oh, quit your job and stay home. Never. But I remember walking out of my room and just like sobbing, like, oh my God, I got laid off. And he was like, stay home. He's just going to be, bleep out his name. He's just going to be this little once. And, you know, I'll pay for everything. I'll take care of you. It's fine. And I was like, because I'm still, even though I'm very career driven, I am a very feminine woman. So for me, I was like, yes, this is amazing. Like, I get to be with my baby. It wasn't about like sitting at home and doing my nails. It was like, I get to be a mom, you know, and be the best mom I can be. And so that was another heartbreaking thing to me, is when this happened. It was like, at one of the best parts of my life all of a sudden turned into the worst part of my life. You know, I went from being like, yes, this is like what I always wanted, and I never even realized that, to nope, now you're on the streets. Basically.
So he wanted you to stay at home and kind of raise a family.
Yeah, he was cool with it.
Yeah, he was cool with it. I don't think it was like it wasn't like a pressure thing, but he was more of like it wasn't like that. And we were in a really good place then. So that was the version of him that I really, really trusted. I felt safe with, and I loved. And I didn't think the other version was going to come back at all. So my guard was down completely, and my heart was completely open. And then it was about 6 months, and then things started going downhill. Back. I was like, oh.
This is not supposed to go like this.
No, this was not supposed to happen this way.
Yeah. Do you think that most women prefer that role of just being the mother once they have a child? Like, do you think it's more? Because I mean, that's the argument that women would rather, and I think to a certain degree, men would also want that. Yeah. Right, to the woman to be there. Yeah. But do you think that a woman would rather just be like, oh, fuck this, like I want to just look after my kid?
I think it depends, because I feel like it depends on the kind of woman. I think deep down inside, our men and women, we are wired a certain way. You know, men, their instincts, like they want to protect.
Biologically instinctual.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, a big part, like although I'm career driven, it's been kind of this way because I haven't really had a choice. You know, I'm not going to get a sugar daddy. No shade on anyone that has that, but I am not going to just marry a rich guy I'm not attracted to because of the lifestyle. Okay. Like, I want to be able to have my freedom and be my authentic self. But deep down inside, I would love to be with a man who's a masculine man who can take care of the household if that need comes. You know, like, I would want to primarily be the person taking care of the home. Okay. I would love that.
So, because you were saying you're career driven, and so then yeah, where you going? Well, because you say you're career driven, but you also would love to be at home. How could you? Is there a way to meet both? Meet the needs of both? Yeah, individuals in you.
Yeah.
I was gonna. Oh, you can go answer that.
So for me, one thing that we did when I was obviously making way more money is we did have a nanny. Okay. And what I loved about that,
when you were still a sales executive.
Yeah. Okay. And that worked great because him and I both worked. And then all of the things that, and obviously that's a luxury, you know, but we were making enough money, which usually if you're two career driven people, you will have the money to afford that. Yeah.
Well, especially if you guys are both going to be having your careers, someone's got to be there when you guys are
Exactly.
Yeah, collecting the check.
But there were things that I liked to do where I like to cook. I like to clean. I like to organize his nursery. I like to have certain moments with him. And having that help allowed me to have that time with him to be a mom and balance, working and being a mom. One thing I noticed when I was staying at home and I didn't have a job, like a 9 to 5, staying at home is 24/7.
It's a different type of work.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it's different.
It is, in my opinion, it's harder than being a sales executive. It is extremely difficult. And mentally, if your partner isn't there with you, there's no way. Like, you're going to be mentally okay.
It's a hard way.
Yeah. You go ahead. No.
And I had another question. You asked another question. Don't forget though.
I won't.
So this is good.
What's the balance? What's the balance you got now then? Because you obviously you have your business. Who's now where you were gonna go?
No.
So where's the balance? So then, if you're running your business, who is then what is it?
Taking care of the kid?
Yeah, taking care of the kid. I was like managing your employees.
Managing your baby.
I'm a business guy, dude.
Managing my child.
Who's managing your baby?
Like
That's literally the word I was thinking. All right, I'm sorry.
He's like boss baby. He just comes rolling out in his little roller.
Okay, so when you're working, so obviously because you said you want to spend that time. So how is it that you're doing it now, with your own career? Like your own business now. So how do you manage that?
So I have a team of 5 girls that work for me now, and I have my own schedule. So basically I tattoo 3 to 4 days a week, and I charge a premium rate for that. So if you want me to tattoo you, you are going to pay a lot of money. And I make those days on days that I don't have my son. So my son's father and I split custody 50-50.
Okay.
So when he has my son, I'm not going out partying. I'm not like going on dates. I am working my ass off, and I'm tattooing either 12 or 13-hour days. On the days I'm not tattooing, I'm on the business. Like you ever hear the phrase in the business versus on it. So I'm kind of in both situations right now. And I just hustle really, really hard. So when I do have my son, I don't work those Saturdays, for example. I'll take him to the zoo, or we'll go do something fun. And I make sure that when I have him, that time is quality. So even though I don't have quantity every single day, I have that quality of time that he'll remember.
So important.
Yeah. And I don't budge on that for anyone. Like when I have my son, don't call me. I'm not answering. If the studio's on fire, obviously call me. But if there's not an emergency, I'll talk to you later.
You got a follow-up question?
I like that.
Because I got a question.
No, go ahead.
Why are you single?
No one impresses me.
I'm going straight into it.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
I'm going to drill you right now. I already know the question I'm going to ask you. Keep going.
I put myself out there on Instagram, obviously, but I'm not on dating apps. Like, it's not my priority right now to find a partner. It's just not my priority.
No, it's not. You work 13-hour days on the days that you work, and then the other days it's with your son. So why are you single?
I just don't want to be in a relationship. I'm traumatized.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. Or do you also probably feel like some way, somehow, maybe your ex will change?
No. I know 100%. Yeah. Sure. 100% he's not going to change.
Sold on that?
Sold.
100%
1000%. Okay. Because I've seen, he's
progression.
Still the same.
Okay. Oh, but yeah, he's still the same.
Now he's worse.
I just asked because I don't know if maybe, okay, how about this? Do you feel like if you were to start dating or find somebody else, would he be cool with that?
No, because it's happened before.
So then do you feel like maybe that's another push of why you're still single?
Yeah, because here's my thing is my priorities right now are my business. My goal is next year to make it into $1 million business, and I'm not going to stop until I get there. And I want to have a lifestyle for my son and myself. Yeah. And I feel like money equals freedom for me.
No, I agree.
It's not like things. I want to have freedom to go travel with my son and like show him a cool life. And then whoever comes into my life, you better add value. Because I've been heartbroken and traumatized enough. If you don't add value and care about me as a person, like the door is right there real quick. But my priorities are my son and my business. And like dating, I've been on a few dates, and oh my God, we could probably have a whole hour discussion of that. What goes through my mind? Because if I spend a night when I don't have my son to go to dinner with somebody, I'm like, I just, the experiences that I've had have been so not like what I want. I'm just kind of like, like.
But I also feel like because you're putting so much pressure on that one night that you're going out, because this is the one night I don't have with my son, so this has to be a really good date.
No, because I talked to them a few times. Like I don't just go on a date with somebody that I've never met. So I'll vet them. You know, like I've been on. Usually it's someone that set me up with somebody or somebody that I've met before, and I think they're a certain way. But like, you know, I'm talking about like I'll be sitting at dinner. How am I going to explain this? It's coming to me. Okay, I'll be sitting at dinner with a man. And I think men need to understand this. I'll be sitting at dinner with a man, and like my priorities in life aren't fucking a random dude and just like seeing where things go. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I don't want to get married tomorrow, but like if you just want to like get in my panties date one because you have a lot of money and a nice car, like that's almost like an insult, because I'm sitting there at dinner with you. I'm taking time away from my business. I'm taking time to get to know you as a person. Yeah. And the few times that I've been at dinner, I feel like it's just like a few of them have been super nice gentlemen, and they wound up being friends because I'm just like not attracted to them or whatever. But there have also been a few guys that have gone to dinner with, and I just feel like the stuff they lead with is like almost insulting, you know, because I want to be like, bro, like I digged myself out of the gutter and I'm sitting here at dinner with you.
But shouldn't you hold yourself a little bit more accountable for that? Because you're also there with the guy. You chose to be out with that guy. Like you vet them, and that's like, if you think about it,
needs to improve.
I think right, because I think, you know, you're going on dates because I mean you're exceptional. You're a very beautiful girl. So a very beautiful woman, you know. So it's like, and you can hold a conversation. I feel like you have a lot of substance, but it's almost like the guys you're choosing then are dirtbags.
But it's weird. So like I went on a date with this guy, right? And he is really successful, good looking. He seemed really kind. We had a few phone conversations, even a FaceTime, because I was like, listen, I don't want to go to dinner with you and just like, no offense, but like, let's get to know each other. If it, you know, if the chemistry's there, the chemistry's there. And he never once got weird with me or like did something douchey. Like he expresses interest, you know, saying, oh, you're beautiful, good morning. You know, he was sweet. I felt like he was actually like courting me, like old school almost. You know, I go to dinner with him, we're sitting there talking, and I feel like I threw him off maybe because when he met me in real life, I wasn't like, I don't know, like maybe I have substance, because if you see my Instagram, like I might not look a certain way. I don't really know. But when I was talking to him, we were talking about life. I try to not talk about business too much when I'm on a date, because I feel like it's just like, I don't want to be your business partner. Like I'm not gonna talk to you about business all day. But he got extremely sexual, and I literally almost got up and left in the dinner because I was just like, this is uncomfortable. So so situations like that where I feel like I've, you know, there are times where guys are quick with that during text messaging, and I'm like, bye, you know.
I can see that.
Or guys that slide in my DMs and they just talk to themselves all day. Like I just ignore them and I block them. But yeah, I'm working on my vetting, and I think I also realized that because I have been on a few dates and I've tried a few things, and it's helped me understand what I like and what I don't like. But it's also just not a priority for me right now. You know?
Yeah, I kind of jumped into that wormhole. I wanted to get more information about that because
ask away.
No, because you were saying, you know, a lot of your ex, and then, you know, you're still single, but it's like, I mean, you have gone on dates, so part of me says, well, she's open to someone.
Certainly.
But then I also feel like there's probably either a lot of restrictions that you put on, or maybe you just have a terrible vetting system that allows for a lot of garbage to come in. But
well, and I'm really picky too. Like there have been, you know, a few people that I've had a good connection with, and we just kind of like, you know, like get to know each other, and then it just, we're different spaces in our life, and it just doesn't match up. Or I've had guys really like, this is so annoying. They'll be like, oh, you know, I really like you even though you have baggage. And they're talking about my son.
I was gonna ask that next.
And I'm like, oh, bitch. We all have baggage. Yeah. Like, I kind of think it's like luggage. Like, we all have bags. We're all going somewhere. Like, it's literally like, so yeah, stuff like that. I'm just really picky. And I think when it's a priority, I'll be more open. But right now, I'm just like,
I just don't want you to never make it a priority because of outside factors. Yeah. And that's kind of that's why I'm asking you these questions.
No, you're right.
Because I want to make sure that it's you making that choice and not dependent on an ex or something else in your life that maybe you haven't identified yet. But it does ultimately come down to you. And but the fact that you have tried to go on dates with now you stating that it's not a priority.
Yeah,
I think that's where you kind of have to figure out when it is going to be a priority and when it's actually going to be a priority. Because you could say it is, but until you're actually open to welcoming someone in and not just being like, well, then he's not meeting all the boxes, or this guy said, like, I think once you're there, you'll be a little bit in a better position. But I just think I just want to make sure that it's you making that choice and not restricting yourself because of outside. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, it's because it's what you were saying in the last episode. Like, if you're a single mom, you're not just dating just to date, and you have to understand that you dating with a purpose, and you have to, because you don't have the luxury. It's just a reality. You have a kid at home, you have a toddler at home. You don't have the luxury of just dating around and seeing where it goes and going with the flow and all that stuff that maybe you can get away with when you don't have kids. When you're at, you can fuck around.
You ain't got time to waste.
Exactly. Well, so you have to be.
I also think, like, I'm pretty old school when it comes to sex. Like, I literally have been with less than a handful of men in my life. So for me, I also feel like men, especially down here, they put a lot of pressure to get there fast. And I'm just not like that. Like, there's this one guy that I actually was dating. We were together, and I didn't even kiss him until we were like 6 dates in. And I really liked him. But I'm just slow. And I don't know. I don't really understand, like, why people, I mean, I guess I understand why they would take that the wrong way. But for me, I'm in no rush. Like, I'm not sitting here like, oh, I'm not here to just to like date and mess around. I would love to meet somebody and just like get to know them, even as just a friend, and then see where it goes. Like, I'm not looking to get married tomorrow. I do want a stable partner eventually. I do want to get married. I'd love to have more kids, but I'm not like sitting there on a date like with all this pressure, like you're either gonna be my husband or not. That's good. Yeah. But I just want to see where it goes, and I notice when you go to dinner, they're like
but I
tend to freak out a little.
And I also think that you have to heal a little bit more too. That's a big part of it.
100%.
I feel like you like to take things slow because you've been hurt before, and you're very protective of your emotions and your feelings. And
100%.
if you allow someone to jump in as quickly as they want to, it's gonna just be a one-way ticket to the same place, and that scares you. That now puts you in a position where you're like, slow down. Because the last time I had someone with that environment, with this conversation, was my ex, and I'm still traumatized. So I feel like you have to get to the point where you know them enough, you've had those conversations enough, where then your wall goes down again, which is what you said back with your ex. And then I think maybe that's when. But you still got a while to go. You got to figure that out yourself, though, before you get into the dating pool. I mean, dating pool will help. 100%. When you start dating again, it'll help you get there faster. But you really do got to do a lot of homework on yourself to be comfortable first. I mean, you're doing a great job, though. You're doing a great job, though.
I'm trying.
But, you do have to heal a little bit more. What are you going to say?
You said you would still want to have more kids. You have one kid. You said you would want more kids in the future?
Would you really? Yeah.
I would love more kids.
How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
35.
35. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Damn, bro, you well put together for 35. You
look good. Really? Thanks.
Yeah, you look good.
It's a lot of Botox.
I like that.
Oh, shit ton of Botox.
Honesty.
So at what point would you still be wanting to have more kids? Because, not for anything. 35, let's say.
You're considered like geriatric when you're 35 and you're pregnant. It's so bad. Like, I'm old in pregnancy years.
That's what I'm saying. Like, in terms of fertility and stuff like that, we'd still want to try to go.
100%. I feel like women are put on so much pressure to stay young. And like, I know girls, I'm in the beauty industry. Like, I have clients who've had babies up until they're 50. Like I have clients who are literally almost 60 and I would not want to be next to them in a bikini. Like they look amazing. So I feel like in today's day and age, there is so much technology and you don't have to be super wealthy. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I think that contributes a lot to like keeping your body healthy and looking young. And I also, if I'm going to spend money, it's not going to be on clothes. It's going to be on Botox.
I want to preserve.
Like, I like freeze that. My face. So yeah, 100% I would want kids. And I don't really want to put an age limit on that because I feel like whatever happens, like I'm even open to adopting. I've always wanted to adopt. So what I don't want is like 2 baby daddies to where I'm in this situation again. I don't want that. So if I have a baby with another man, it's going to be with a man that I know is going to be there and I feel safe with. And I feel like that's one thing that I noticed is with my past relationship, I didn't feel entirely safe. And I feel like you form that trauma bond, you know, because you're used to that chaos. Right. And I think that that's an area that I need to heal in myself is understanding that I deserve to have peace. Yeah. And in the past, probably 6 months, I've been so protective over my peace. Is if somebody causes any sort of issue or has something to say, like unless there's somebody that I know truly cares about me, like I just don't disturb me. So but I don't think I really truly believed I deserved that because I've been living in survival mode for so long, you know, even before my relationship. So I feel like the last, 2 years of me being single-ish, you know, I've been focusing on getting to know myself. And that's a big part of myself is understanding that when I meet a guy, if he seems dangerous and I'm attracted to that, he's probably not the one.
Probably. You might have to take a second and think back.
It feels like there's a little bit of pressure on any guy that dates you though. Right? Because you just said, well, I don't want 2 baby daddies. I want the next guy to be like the guy. Right? Think of like then every guy who's going to date you. I mean, of course, to your point, it's going to now filter the guys that are like, yo, I know what you're looking for. It was me.
Hey.
Right? But then there's other guys that'll be like, well, shit, I don't want to. That's too much. Because that's a big responsibility. Now, I don't even want to try to entertain because what if all the expectation and they start thinking, so it can kind of scare some dudes away though with that mentality. I also feel like you also still need to heal a little bit more for yourself to be open to dating. I think once you're there, you'll be more open and things will start like, oh, I'm okay. Like I'm a little bit ridiculous about this, but to a certain degree, you also do want what those check marks are for you and your child. But I think that it comes down to everything. I think once you can get to a healing spot, you're gonna be more in line because it seems like a high pressure. A lot of pressure for a guy.
Which is so funny because I can't stand a lot of pressure. So for me, like that goes on in my head. Like, I'm not going to have a baby with a guy that is going to, be like a shithead. But like for me, it doesn't necessarily mean like it doesn't mean the next guy that I'm with has to give me a child either. Like it's kind of like.
But you want kids. So,
right? I do, so but I'm also
next guy. What would he be?
But I'm also open to not having another kid. I would love to have another kid,
cool. But it's okay because you already have a kid.
In the time of her life, I think she's in a position where she would welcome another child, or
maybe if the guy has his own child, that's great.
Then you could be a.
Like I'm open, so I'm open to all of it. It doesn't have to be a certain way. I'm literally open to anything. But what I do not want is to have a baby with another guy and then be like this with 2 baby daddies. That's the one thing I don't want. But like all the other situations, I'm open to it.
Doable.
Yeah, because I don't want that pressure either. That scares me like majorly. I was with a guy for a minute. And he was just like, I want to marry you. Oh my God, we should have babies. And I was like, this is way too fast. And it was probably only 2 months. And I just couldn't.
That's.
I couldn't deal with
it. Mate, what if he's legit? What if he's the real deal?
No, I didn't think he was because anyone that thinks they love someone after 2 months, like you love the idea of them.
That's true.
He didn't know me. He didn't know me. He didn't know all my isms. And like, I know, yeah, I'm worthy of that love.
But you like, don't know that.
You don't know me like that.
Like, you don't know that.
It's just suspect.
Yeah, it's a red flag.
When it comes to like, in terms of, speaking of dating, who like what age range do you like tend to go for in terms of guys? You like younger guys, older
guys who are successful, dude.
I don't know. Maybe you don't know.
It depends. Like I tend to attract a lot of younger guys, which is funny. But the guys that I've gone on dates with tend to be older. Like and I don't mean like old, but they're usually 10 years older than me. So they're late 40s, maybe early 50s. But I'm not necessarily attracted to a guy that's already made it, because I don't think that they're going to be in the space of their life. Like, for example, I've been on a few dates with men who are very successful, like hundreds of millions of dollars just in the bank. And the only thing they have to worry about is their grass growing.
Yeah.
But I feel like they look at me as like, oh, you're so cute with your little business. You know, that's cute. And I don't want that. You know, I would love... I'm open to it, but like so far, the men that I've met in that situation haven't been attractive to me. I've been attracted to guys, you know, usually they're late 30s, early 40s, and they're still like hustling, and they're probably more in a better financial situation than I am. So they're able to provide. You know, I definitely do want a man that is able to provide, not in a superficial way, but like, he can hold shit down if the
you
apocalypse.
Said it earlier, masculine. That's what you want.
Yes,
you want to be in the feminine.
Yes,
okay, ain't nothing wrong with that.
So you have to have your shit together. Maybe not all the way, but at least be on track.
Okay. Yeah.
But there really isn't like an age preference that I have. I'm not attracted to like really young guys. It's weird to me because you're like my brother's age.
Yeah, that's true. Could be
gross.
Could be a brother. You had said earlier, because I wanted to circle back, because you were saying that you very business oriented, you work hard, you have your career, but on the other side you have your feminine energy, you love to stay at home and raise your kid. How was it like? How would you want the dynamic to be if you were to stay at home? Because you at a point you were like a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Man comes at home, husband, boyfriend, whatever comes at home. How is that dynamic? Like, do you feel like as if you're a stay-at-home parent or stay-at-home mom, the whole house is the domains, meaning that the house is clean, it's cooked, all that stuff like that. Because and then
that's like my business.
That's your
not in like a controlling, annoying way,
right?
But I'm like, oh, the spice drawer is gonna be the most beautiful spice drawer you ever saw. The floor is gonna be clean. Like my son and I are gonna do activities. We're gonna do crafts. Like when Daddy comes home, we're gonna have like a cool thing we made for you. Like dinner's on the table. Like I had a menu for the entire week. But not in a uptight. Like I'm not a very I don't know how to explain it. Like I'm not a rigid, annoying like. I shouldn't say rigid people are annoying, but I'm kind of go with the flow.
Okay.
But I believe one thing I learned in business is if you have boundaries, you can kind of be creative and like flow within those boundaries. So when I was staying at home, oh my God, like I went all out. Like I made sure I feel like if a woman is staying home and your man is providing, when he comes home, he has been at the office with a bunch of girls that are dressed like this. He shouldn't come home. I might get canceled for this. But you need to take care of yourself, and you need to give him something to come home to that he's excited and proud of. Because think about it, your man is, and I'm saying this because I've been in corporate with a bunch of men, and I've been at that table with those men who are cheating, who are unhappy. And the simplest thing, it's not that hard. If you don't know how to do your makeup, look on YouTube. If your man is making money, you have the budget. Like you can do this. So like everything, it would be clean. Even if the house was a mess all day, he wouldn't know it. He would come home and that place was clean. Even if I was a mess all day, I would look like a little supermodel when he came home. Dinner would be on the table. My son would go to sleep. You know, we would do like bedtime activities, and he would still be like a present father. And then afterwards was like our time. So yeah, I definitely like loved that period of time, and I still have that in me. Even if I work, like I still want to like take care of my man.
Yeah.
But if you're not taking care of me, I don't want anything to do with you. I'll do it on my own.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I'm probably a little confusing for a lot of men, because I've had to do so much on my own. If you're not very masculine, like you're not impressive to me.
Right.
The reason I like that. The reason I'm asking is because, and I was watching this, I think you even sent it to me. It was like a divorce lawyer, and she's saying the reason so many couples get divorced is because a man thinks, I provide financially, and that's it. That's my role. I just bring in the money, and that's it. Truth of the matter is, there's a lot more to it, especially when you have kids. It's not just I bring in the paycheck, I come home, and I can crack open a beer and just watch TV, and that's it, because I had 8 hours of a difficult day. I respect that, and I get that. But you even said it earlier, as a mom, you're 24/7. So there has to be more, I feel like, as a man, that than just bringing in the money. Unless, I mean, depending on the dynamics, I get that. But there's something missing, because a lot of women will say, a lot of married women will say, well, bringing in the money is not enough. I need to, when you come home, you need to help me out with something. The kids, you know, like, or whatever it is, or helping me clean, or doing something, or cooking. So where is the balance? Where is the healthy medium?
But it also comes down to what you were saying, the woman's job in this case, to provide that environment for when the man comes in to want to be a part of the family and help out. 100%. And not just sit back and crack open a beer and be like, fuck this bitch. I already had to deal with 10 other ones at work. The last thing I want to do is deal with this one.
Exactly.
So it comes down to her where she's like, you know what? My job as the partner and as a mother and as the wife, whatever, is, well, I want to hold on the fort, because if my man's going to take care of me and put this over my head, I got to make sure I take care of my man. And that starts with taking care of yourself.
Yes. True. But I feel like a lot of women, I got a front row seat to what goes on in corporate. Like, I worked for a $2 billion company, and I was probably one of 3 women in my position. And most of the men were 50s. So they were going through their divorces. They were going through the custody cases. They were cheating. Yeah. You know, and like, I was the one who had to kind of look the other way. But I was taking some mental notes that entire time. And I don't think a lot of women understand. They're like, oh, my job's 24/7. How hard could your job be? If you are a successful man making a certain amount of money, like if you want to be with a man that is a successful man in the top percentile, you need to understand that man's day is he's probably a second away from having a stroke or a mental breakdown all day long. So then when he comes home to you, why do you think so many men don't come home? I also used to be a bartender when I was in college, and I would see so many businessmen. They wouldn't go home to their wives. They would come see me, because I was like, hi, here's your drink. How's your day? Yeah, you're working for that tip. Even though I didn't give a shit about their day and I thought they were gross and annoying, I would sit there and be like, oh, you want blue cheese stuffed olives? You're so cute. Here you go. Okay, bye. And then they would go home or probably go out with their girlfriend and do their thing. But I think men need that environment where they come home and it's peaceful and they can breathe. And then I agree.
That is true. The last thing you want to do is when you get home from work, like the first thing getting yelled at, oh, do this, do that, do that. Like it's,
or nothing gets done.
Yeah. You come home and it's like it's a fucking bomb exploder.
Like, what the fuck you do all day? Oh, I have the kid. I'm like, all right, but I've
been at work too.
Yeah, you're this roof over your head.
Yeah. But I also think too, I wish like there would be more like role reversal things, situations in life, because I've done both, and being a stay-at-home mom. Oh my God. Like there are nights, especially when they go through like little sleep regressions, which means that they don't sleep. And that means you don't sleep. And my favorite thing is, oh, just do the laundry when the baby's napping. Like, I'm fucking exhausted. The last thing I want to do is do laundry. But, you know, you work smarter, not harder. I would just let everything go to shit all day. And then before he would come home, I'd be like, all right, I have an hour. Boom, I'm getting this place together, because that's really all that matters. The baby doesn't care if the place is a mess. You keep it clean all day, a little bit, and then you just, you know, make it look pretty when they get there. You don't have to slave all day and keep it clean.
I like the point that you made. It's like you as a partner, you have to put yourself in the other person's position. Being a stay-at-home mom is or being a stay-at-home parent is very difficult, right?
Yeah.
It's so much work, so much responsibility. But on the other aspect, being the sole breadwinner is also a lot of responsibility. Yeah. So a lot of women need to understand, if my man is working all day, bringing in money, having so many responsibilities and things to have to deal with, that's a big job. And vice versa. As a father, as a man, you have to say, listen, my woman has a big responsibility at home, raising our children, raising our kid, making sure the house is in order. That's a lot of responsibility too. If they could switch days for one day or for a week, they would appreciate each other so much more.
No, but it also comes out to, because let's say you as a man comes home, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to your wife, and then, you know, the kid's good, but then the house is a mess. Yeah. It's almost like, yo, like, you could also work if you wanted to. Like, don't tell me that you have the kid and you don't have enough like time in your hands to clean the house, because this is what you prefer. Yeah. Like, you want to be you want to take care of the child.
Yeah, 100%.
You want to take care of the crib. Make sure it's taken care of when I get here, then, because if not, work. And we'll get a nanny who can do everything, because they'll get paid for it. You ain't. So it's almost that as well. Like, if you're gonna have that, you understand that that's also that's part of the role that you're choosing. So if you want to be the stay-at-home mom, you want to take care of the child, better take care of the crib too.
Yeah, go all the way.
Yeah.
But if you give them the opportunity, you would rather work or you rather stay at home. I guarantee you 99% of the time they would say, oh, I'd rather stay at home.
Okay, so then make sure that everything is, that's my point.
It's you can't pick and choose. Oh, yeah, I'll stay at home and raise the kid or whatever, but it'll be messy when you come home. I need to do this, this, and that.
And don't complain your man doesn't make enough money. That drives me crazy when a man is working so hard for his family and then the girl stays home and she's like, oh, he doesn't make enough money. Go find a rich guy. Like, you had a kid with him when you made this. That, I'm sorry, I feel like that's so insulting.
That's true.
I
either find someone who's got the money, or you get a job and then pay someone to get to.
Or on the flip side, when guys, I would hear this a lot at corporate, they'd be like, oh, I wish she was more attractive like these other girls. Well, she looked like that when you got with her. Chill, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, if she looked a certain way when you got with her and then she let it go, that I get that. You did not wind up with the item you purchased. I get it.
But false advertising.
The false advertisement. I get that. If I can bounce back after a baby, like, you can, you know, like, it's very difficult, but you should.
Do you think it's selfish for a man? Like, if I have a wife, I have a kid with somebody, I have a wife or whatever, and after a couple of years, they let themselves go. Am I the asshole for calling them out, like, hey,
no,
you're not the same person? And I get it. Time, you know, we've talked about.
But you know how difficult it is. I have to take care of that. You don't take care of Junior. Junior is a lot of work. It's hard for me to go to the gym.
Right. But if I put in a lot of time. I work a lot. I wake up early, go to the gym.
But you don't take care of Junior. You don't understand what it's like to take care of Junior.
I don't.
Take care of Junior and you would know.
Okay.
No.
That's why I look like this. This is your fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, you guys need to have a segment where you're like, what is your name going to be?
You'll never win, Cristina. No, that's my girl's name.
No, we
crazy. Isabel. Her mom's name.
Worse.
No.
Cancel. We'll edit that segment out.
But that's what it's going to be like.
But so, yeah, like, I feel like that's another aspect of
I
it.
don't think you're being ridiculous at all.
Yeah.
Because men are very visual creatures, and I feel like it is what it is. I mean, they're with Instagram, like, now if your girl's working really hard, like, that was why I take it personally if a man's not loyal to me, because I'm like, I know I'm working hard. So if you want to go see what else is out there, that's fine, because for me to be loyal, I'm sorry, like, I have options. Like, so if a guy's taking his woman for granted, you better think twice if she's keeping herself up, because it's very easy to replace you. But I feel like men who are frustrated when their wife lets themselves go, or their girlfriend, now there are certain things that you cannot change. Like, some women get like a certain issues with their stomach after they have a baby, and they can't do anything about that.
Completely understandable.
When men hold that shit against their women, I think that's like borderline sick. Because pay for her surgery. Like, I'm sorry, like, you knocks her up, and if you messed up, if that's go.
That's true. Or stretch more. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm not talking about postpartum. Like, we're not talking about that.
Please, like,
understandable.
for anyone listening to this, if you can't help something that happened, yeah. But if you're like, if you're not,
okay.
Wait, what'd you say?
No.
I didn't hear what you said.
No. I was talking to him.
Fat bitch. You're a piece of shit, dude. So
no, but if you just let yourself go and like you stop going to the gym, and you even said it, you're in the beauty industry. You stop doing your nails, stop doing your hair because he's not gonna leave. I have kids.
Don't do that.
He's gonna
don't do that.
Yeah.
No,
that's the quickest way to be single again.
It is, or get cheated on.
I feel like that's like
both.
I feel like it's almost like a ploy to just get child support and get a divorce. Like, you know what? I'm just not gonna do my shit. The guy's gonna be stuck with me, and if he don't like it, that's his paycheck in my pocket. Maybe.
I don't think so. I don't know. That's horrible. Because when they get single, they glow up very quickly.
I hate that shit.
That's the fucking worst. We talk about that, and then it's his loss.
His loss.
No, it's not, bitch. If anything, he's winning right now.
You should, or it's like, like you see the during and after, like, we broke up. He left me because whatever, and they were fucking huge.
I know.
And then like 2 months later, they look amazing. 3 months later, different fucking person. It's insane.
Here's one thing to think about. You know what? You know what?
Dude, you should pay me for this. I'm serious.
Hold on. You know what's interesting? Chris,
I gotta come up. I'll send you one of those videos when we leave. It drives me nuts. When you see in the comments, so if anything, you should thank this guy.
Chris getting the giggles.
No, it's true. Yeah, dude.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was funny. It's true.
It's dying. But like what I think too is sometimes it could be the girl's depressed. You know, like I feel like your mental health comes out in your physical, and it could be because, think about it this way. I agree that if a man, you should bring it to your partner's attention both ways. Like if you're with a guy and he lets himself go. Yeah. But I feel like the women, if I was with a partner and they came to me and they were like, hey, you're letting yourself go, I would love that instead of getting cheated on or instead of getting served with divorce
100%.
papers. Like, it's a conversation. You guys are in, like.
Fat bitch. I was like, fat bitch.
Dear fat bitch. That's like the.
And she just signs the initials FB.
Yeah. Just sign next to your initials. Where is it? Fat bitch. Sign over your name. Fat bitch.
Done.
Anyways.
But I feel like it's also kind of goes both ways, because if somebody is not looking their best from the outside, sometimes there's something going on inside. And a lot of men, going back to what you were saying, they come home and they don't give their partner any attention. They don't, like, I was kind of in that situation. Like, he would go out without me and I would be like basically the babysitter. And I love getting dressed up and, like, again, feeling feminine, going on a date, like, court me. Because if you don't think there are other guys hitting me up, you're an idiot.
Think again, yeah.
But at the same time, what you were saying earlier, I'm glad you just said this right now. The same way that there's men who are high value men making good money and they're successful, do not expect that the woman, in this case, that you're not replaceable. Because don't think that because I have the child and I'm his wife and I'm doing this, so now when he gets home, he's just gonna have to deal with it. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, this man is with you. You know he's high value. You know he's successful. You know he's high quality. He takes care of you. You have a roof over your head. You get whatever you want. All this stuff you're taken care of. Don't just be like, back to what we were saying, whether it's with the kid, no kid, or you're just a stay-at-home wife, mom, whatever, make sure it's up to date, because if you're not going to do it, somebody else will.
Oh, yeah.
They would die to be with a man who's like that. Yep. So if you're going to want to be treated like a queen, make sure you're treating your man like a king as well.
Oh, yeah.
So
and girls notice that too. Like, I remember, because some of those guys that are quote unquote high value, I've seen them behind the scenes and they're douchebags. Right. They're the biggest narcissists, and they come home and they ignore their wife. They're going to cheat on you no matter if you look like a model or if you look like a non-model. Yeah. So there are those men that, like, you might have it as a man, you guys might look at that guy and be like, oh, damn, like, he's amazing. Like me, behind the scenes, hearing what they talk about when their guards let down because they think I'm not listening. I'm like, damn, you're a piece of shit. But there are men, I consider a man that's a high value man, a man that can provide, you know, whether he's in this bracket or this bracket, you're providing, you're kind, and you actually care about your partner's well-being. You know, like that's the one thing that I look for is, are you generous? Because you could be broke or you could be a millionaire, but if you're not generous, none of it matters. You could be with a rich guy that holds it over your head. I know plenty of girls that are like that, where the guy's like, you know what, you know, you get whatever you want, and all these people want me, and it's like being with him is a nightmare, and the girl's trapped. But I think if you're two high value people, you have to always be on your toes and understand that that other person like could get somebody else, you know?
Which is why it's important to constantly be, so it's the same thing as before. You had made the argument, well, the man has to come home and still contribute to the family. Well, the woman should create that environment.
Yeah.
And then if, you know, the woman wants, you know, to contribute, well, it's the same thing. Like, well, I want you here, do this. Well, the man's like, well, I want you to do this, like be pretty and like take care of yourself and don't let yourself go, take care of the kid, take care of the house. Well, then I know that I also have to step up, and it's not just about the paycheck and the roof over your head. It's the relationship and being the parent, the man. You
should like still court your woman when you're with her. Absolutely. Like what kills me is when men are like, oh, I never get sex. It's like, well, are you taking her on dates? Did you forget her birthday? Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many times my birthday has been just like forgotten.
When's your birthday?
April 15th.
We're gonna remember next year. We're gonna text
We're very big on that. Like, never stop dating. We're working on a course right now, a book, whatever. And it's one of the chapters is never stop dating. Yeah, and it's something now.
April 15th.
Yeah,
and I'm very. It's a Saturday this year.
Oh,
this year? No, but next year.
Next year.
Next year. All right, invite us, whatever you decide to do. Okay?
We'll do it. We'll do another podcast. See how my life is going. We'll do a life update.
Yeah, I like that.
April 15th. All right. You're on the calendar.
Perfect.
And it's so important that just because all the things that it took you to get this partner, don't stop doing them once you have them.
Yes.
The dates, the dress up, the being romantic, being flirty, being sexy.
Yeah.
Even if you've been together for 5, 10, 17 years, it doesn't matter. Actually, the longer you've been together, the more important it becomes.
Yeah.
Because you start, you know, letting things go. You stop working out as much. You stop doing the little things that it took you to get this person, and it's so important. It's I think it's one of the core elements to a healthy, long-lasting relationship.
You know what's interesting though, because I was actually married.
Oh, okay.
In my 20s.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I was with my ex-husband we were married for like 7.5 years, and then we were together for about 11 years.
Jesus.
And I went through something where I just wasn't at my best. I wasn't overweight at all. Like, I've always been little. But I just kind of stopped working out. I stopped doing things that I loved. I was actually drinking, not super heavy, because I drink 1 glass of wine and I'm like lit.
Whoa.
I'm like done. But I wasn't my best self. And it was because I was not where I was supposed to be in my life. Like, I was so misaligned. And I think it was just I don't know how to explain it. Like, I wasn't being my authentic self, and it was coming out in ways of me being like depressed and just not happy. And because I'm telling you, the second I got a divorce, and him and I are in good terms. I actually called him a few weeks ago and had a conversation with him, and I asked him, how could I have been a better partner? That was wild, because I wasn't actually, I feel bad for saying this, but it's true. I wasn't like in love with him. I met him when I was 19. I lost my virginity to him. I was raised, you should marry someone like that. We got along great as friends. We did have good, chemistry, but I was never really in love with him. He wasn't the guy I pictured myself having a kid with. He just wasn't it. And I spent so many years trying to make it make sense and like thinking there was something wrong with me. I wound up getting depressed and like letting myself go. And then we ended the marriage. I moved down here, and then I met my son's dad not too long after. So I do think there is also something to be said about a woman who's letting herself go. She might not be happy in the relationship. I think that's something that men need to really pay attention to, because like, what's going on with you? Yeah.
I think it's so important to have that intimate bond with your partner where you can be vulnerable and be honest. Like to me, if I'm gaining weight or if something's going wrong, I want my partner to tell me, hey, what is going on. I've noticed this and this, and I want to be comfortable enough and secure enough in a relationship where I could say, "Hey, Claudia," or whatever, you know, my girlfriend at the time, you know, "Hey, you I mean, I don't care. I tell her, you've gained some weight. You know what's going on." And so I feel like the purpose is like, okay, like let's tackle this together. What's going on? Maybe it's the birth control. Maybe it's, you know, postpartum depression. Maybe it's my job that I hate and it just makes me feel like terrible. What is it? What can we do together to tackle this? And thinking long term, rather than instead of saying, you know, just kind of pushing it away. And if I can't bring that up, what kind of partner are you? If I can't tell you that you've gained weight, if you can't tell me that I've gained weight or that I've let myself go, what type of relationship is that's not the relationship I want to be in.
I think there's beauty in that. I really do.
You know how comfortable you need to be with your partner in order to be able to have this conversation.
I think that's so awesome though. Like I would love for someone to talk to me and be like, "Hey, I noticed that you're like a mess. What's going on with you?" Because usually that's a time that you need someone to call. You almost like want someone to call you out because you're just like so in your shit.
Yeah.
And then the person closest to you, if they let you know, like, "Hey, I love you. What's up? How can I help you?"
That's what it is.
That's awesome. That's what it's all about.
I love you enough that I don't want to see you keep going down this path. I want to see you better.
Yeah. And it's not about me not being attracted to you. Yeah, that's going to eventually happen. But like, I care about you as a person.
You're the mother of my children. I want to see you grow older. I want to grow old with you. What can we do? And I get it. Like, listen, you're growing old with somebody, your body's going to change.
Oh, yeah.
I understand
100%.
Things are going to, you know, things slow down. Things start sagging. It's all normal.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that some people take it too far.
Yeah.
And then
what you can control, you should control.
Well, you can, 100%.
Like,
and so I think that's so important that you brought that up.
100%.
I like that.
You like that? That's a good conversation.
I did want to start going towards the wrap up.
Yeah. You had a couple of questions that you received.
Oh my God.
Anything that I can't see it right now. It kind of expired. Anything that kind of
I lost. So I took a screenshot and then I lost.
If you go, it'll be there. It'll be there.
You gotta go to your archive.
Yeah. It'll show up on your story, and then
I took a screenshot. That just feels easier.
Yeah, that works too.
We'll go back here.
But do you know where to go so you can find them?
Well, yeah, in the archive, yeah. But I post so many stories. I'm like,
okay. All right, go ahead. What you got?
A lot of people wanted to know about my son's dad. Somebody said, "Does your son's dad pay your bills or help you with money?" He does not.
At all?
At all. But I shouldn't say at all. We co-parent 50-50.
Okay.
So like we split school 50-50. Okay. There have been times that I think because he feels guilty for everything that happened. Like there was one month where I was like, I can't pay my rent. What do you want me to do? Yeah. Like I need your help. And he did help me. But it always comes with like, you know, remember, not conditions because I don't follow into that, but it's always thrown in my face or I'm always reminded of it. And I'd rather just not live like that. It's not worth it. Yeah. I refuse to file for child support. I'm probably going to have a lot of people that disagree with this because I want him to be a good dad because he wants to be a good dad. And I want him to contribute what he wants to contribute, period. Okay. I make my own money. Eventually, I'm going to make more money than him. The last thing I want is for him to go after me for child support because I don't think he would ever do that. But you never know. True. If I wind up in a I'm thinking about this long term. It's not worth a couple grand a month, if that. True, it's just not worth it to me. The animosity, like we have a pretty decent non-drama relationship. Yeah. And it's not at all legally.
But I'm also, I'm also thinking it's a 50-50 like co-parenting. So it's like, what would be the financial contribution? Because if he has them half the time, those are the 2 weeks out of the month, or I'm supposing that he pays for whatever the expenses are and stuff like that. So how would that fall even? Like
so it basically they add up all of our bills, and my bills are way higher than his because I had to find a place to rent. He owns his place. He has no. You know what I mean? Like his monthly output is lower than my monthly output. And they look at things like that, like your roof over your head, your car payment. They put it all together and they would be like, all right, well, Stevie's paying much more money a month on things that she needs to have for the child.
But to me, it's like, no, well, your car payment, that's your car payment. Like, is that like I think child support is for the child. It's not for, if you have a nice ass car, that's on you. If you have a nice ass horse, that's on you.
Yeah, right.
I agree.
But if like now, because that I don't agree. I hate that.
But like rent, it's a roof over your kid's head. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but if you let's say you pay $4,000 a month to live in Coral Gables, then that's on you.
I agree.
So
because if you think about it, if you're gonna file for child support, just rent the most expensive fucking apartment.
That's what I'm saying. So
get the nicest car.
I think that they look at stuff like that. Like it has to be within reason. Okay, it's basically they look at your income versus your bills, and if they were to look at my income versus my bills right now, he would definitely owe me money because the money that I'm taking is literally, thank God, I'm able to pay my bills with my business, but like my business also has bills. So like I have literally 2 places I'm paying rent for. I have a car payment. I have insurance. I have insurance for my business, insurance for my artist. Like I have a lot of money going out. It's like a lot of money.
Yeah.
The financial stress that I'm under is like astronomical.
Significant, yes.
But it's not worth like, so if I were to take everything on paper and like be an asshole, I shouldn't say be an asshole because a lot of women do file for child support. It is what it is. But I would probably be owed something, but it wouldn't be significant enough to make, like, it's not something I can't go make myself. Like to me, there's no point because I'm not living. I got my car when I made a much higher salary. So I can't wait to get out of that car payment. But, you know, the place that I rent, it is what it is. Everywhere is expensive now.
True.
And I'm not like shopping and like, I just don't spend. I'm in the beauty industry. I don't really have to pay for anything I get done. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I didn't want to ask for child support because I just don't want that animosity.
Yeah. It sounds like you guys have a very amicable relationship when it comes to the child. So I think it makes, I mean, as long as it works.
It's about the child.
Yeah, it's about the child.
Yeah.
That's a focus.
Yeah, I like that.
We'll see what happens if I meet somebody, but.
You're not going to.
No.
It's not going to happen.
Not like that.
Here's another question that I thought was interesting.
Okay.
What is your opinion on Middle Eastern men? And are you raising your son Muslim?
Oh.
Baby daddy is Muslim.
Oh, that's why they're asking you.
Yeah.
Middle Eastern,
Yeah. So I thought that was a very nosy question.
They know too much.
Well, yeah, some of them like.
Sure.
Yeah. I think Middle Eastern men are awesome. Like they're definitely. I think it depends on who you're with. Like they could say all Latin guys are a certain way, or all black guys are a certain way, or all white guys. Like there's really no stereotype that's true. What I think, because I've dealt with a lot of Middle Eastern men on the business side, a lot, and then also on the personal side, not necessarily dating, but just like in my life, I feel like the culture is definitely more conservative, which is something that I'm used to because that's how I grew up Southern Baptist. So like it's really not that far off from how I was raised. But my son is half Lebanese, and I think Lebanese men are the best. My son. I'm sorry. I'm always going to be biased. So when it comes to Middle Eastern men, Lebanese men are the best. My fave. I just picked the wrong one to have a kid with. But and as far as raising him Muslim, I think oh no, did we lose the battery?
One of them did.
Oh, we lost the light.
It's okay.
We'll be all right.
I think people get way too tripped up on religion, honestly. And if my son goes to mosque when he's with his dad, which he probably won't because he's not that strict. But if his family, like I love his family, my son's father, or his family is awesome. Like their beliefs are beautiful. It's peaceful. It's beautiful. Like there's nothing that they believe that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
So if they want to take my son to mosque, or if they want to show him how to pray,
you're cool with that.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And when he's with me, I take him to church. Like it just is what it is. I feel like people get so wrapped up in religion, and at the end of the day, like who knows like what's really the right religion? We're not God. So
yeah, I think it's important to be open, and I love that because it's like you have your views and your beliefs and your opinions, and then the father has his, and it's also important for the child to know that there's a world outside of what we believe. And it's like at the end of the day, when he's old enough, he'll have his own decision to make of which route. Okay, I've been exposed to this. I've been exposed to that. Now I'm of age. I can make my own decision. Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of raising children, is expose them to as many experiences as you can, and then let them decide for their own. I think that's what parenthood is all about.
I agree. And like I feel like we have so many problems in our life, and I have so many things that I am going through. Who am I to just be like, no, you can't take my son to mosque?
That's the thing too.
That's just weird.
Because it's like you're a human and you have your own choices that you want to make. It's like, I mean, you obviously want what's best for your children and guide them in the right direction, but to restrict them from wanting to believe in something or to do something, like just taking away that right from a person. Yeah. Again, you're a parent. You want to guide them. I get that. But if they want to do something, you're like, no. Why? Yeah. Because we believe in this. It's like,
now, if it's
I don't believe in that.
If it's something extreme or violent, on either way, because there are Christians that are super extreme and they're just not okay. Any religion, you have your extremists. Obviously, if it was that, I would absolutely not be okay with that. But I feel like if it's peaceful and if you're praying if you want to pray to God 5 times a day, go for it. That is awesome. Pray for me, please.
Let them know about me too.
Like go for it. Yeah. But I feel like, that's my thing, is I don't want them to go. I don't want my son going to church and hearing that Muslims need to be saved. I don't want him to go to mosque and hear that, Christians need to find Islam.
And like, that's where you gotta be careful.
That's my thing. And I've been, and I've been I feel like we're on the same page about that. Is like, hey, we're doing this for him. I had a kid with a guy who is in a Muslim family. Like, who am I to try to control the outcome after I did this, you know? And I've never seen anything wrong with Islam. Certain. But I was raised Christian. So now that I'm a single mom, I'm bringing my son to church, and he's going to go to church. And a lot of people ask me about that, and I feel like they get very like tripped up on it. And I just really don't think it's that big of a deal.
I just don't think it's not that big of a deal here. I think here in Americans are more woke, I guess we could say, where they're more like in control of their own stuff. And if you want to believe in something, there's just so many people here. Also, like no one here in America is really American.
No.
So I guess like we all just kind of come from our own cultures. But then when you think of something probably Middle Eastern, where they're very, I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but they're very like set on their beliefs, and it's very traditional, and like that's how they're raised, and it's got to be this way. I think that's why that question poses more on that side.
Well, his family,
maybe his father, your child's father.
Well, there are people in his family, like the little village that they're from. I've actually been to Lebanon, and it is amazing.
Have you been?
I've never been to Lebanon.
Wow.
Oh my God, it's so cool.
You should go.
I went to a Lebanese restaurant the other day. It was fire.
Where'd you go? The one on US 1?
No, I was in Vienna. I was in Austria.
Oh.
And they had like a Lebanese restaurant, and Claudia, my girlfriend, she like had a reservation, and it was amazing.
Yeah, really? Their food is so good.
It's just, it was really good.
But I remember when I was there, we were in this little village, and it was like out of a movie, because these people were just like, you go to dinner and they come out and they're like, oh, here, I just picked this from the garden. Like, they're just so cute. And there's a mosque and a church. And Lebanon is probably one of the, it's a Middle Eastern country. You'd think it's predominantly Muslim, but there are a lot of Christians there.
Oh.
A lot of Christians, and they're very conservative too. Some of the Christians cover their hair. So you see in this village, they have the call to prayer. So I'm like sitting on the balcony at these people's house. It was just beautiful, like looking at the mountain, and then you hear the prayer, and you see everyone stop and drop what they're doing, and you just see them praying all through the village, like pull out their mats and start praying.
Oh my God.
It was beautiful.
Oh, cool.
It was beautiful. And then, it doesn't last that long. So it's almost like you're forced to meditate multiple times a day in this beautiful village.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, certain nights when they go to mosque, you see the women, like the covered ladies with other ladies who aren't covered. Some of them are going to church, and some of them are going to mosque. So his family is very open with Christianity. They like, when I say I'm bringing my son to church, they're like, oh, that's awesome. Like, they don't mind at all. So I feel like
sweet.
as if you're different religions, you should be, especially if you're co-parenting, on the same page with just your core beliefs.
Yeah, true. I like that.
That's true. It's a big one.
I like that. Anything else you got there?
Do you have any other really good questions? Because I want to wrap it up with either one, or we could just close it out with...
I don't really... A lot of it was like, are you dating anyone? No.
Okay. We already answered that.
Yeah.
How do you balance life, work, friendships? Nothing really that we haven't covered.
Yeah, we covered a good amount.
We covered what? This friggin', I can't wait to start editing this, honestly.
An hour.
An hour and a half.
Okay,
an hour 32.
We got to start wrapping up.
Yeah, please. My editing friends later. All right. So, no, it is time to break up. And although we got a lot of information, I got to be honest. You say this all the time, but I genuinely really feel it this time. We honestly could have talked for another hour or 2 hours if we wanted to. You say this for every guest. I've heard you say it. But this time...
I'm thinking. No, because we could. I think we
shut your ass up. But this one, I'm even saying it because I feel like, man, especially at the end there, I was like, bam, 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 going back and forth with everything. No. But of course, time. Although we can record forever, we still have to edit our own shit. So
that sounds like fun.
No. Anyways, so it is time to break up. So we're not coming to the end of the segment, and in this segment, we always ask the guest for final thoughts. So anything you'd want to say, maybe to your younger self, something you want to say to the audience that you feel very passionate about, or anything and anything that just means something to you. You can say it to the camera. You can say it to us, however you want, and then you can sell yourself all the way at the end. Once again, with all your Instagram, find me here, you can do that. But start with final thoughts, anything that's important to you, whenever you're ready.
Lately what's been on my mind has been being authentic to yourself, like relentlessly, unapologetically authentic, whatever that means for you. And it has helped me. I don't think I truly grasped that until now, after everything I've gone through. And, it's such a beautiful time in my life. And I feel like the more I pursue just, is this authentic? Does this feel right to me? Am I going to do this? You just ignore everyone's opinion. Unless they truly care about you, then take it. But be relentlessly authentic at pursuing whatever it is you want to do with your life, because you literally just get one life and it flies by. And I see that with my son. And if you're a single mom, or if you're in a relationship that doesn't feel authentic, just go. There's no reason why you should be stuck there. You know, like, I'm proof that even financial reasons, you can get out. There is always a way.
Yeah.
The only reason why you're staying is because you want to. Deep down. You don't have to. Jesus. Seriously, like that is
going out with a banger, dude.
I get it.
Yes.
Damn.
If I can do it and be in a shack and build a 6-figure business, you can. And I don't mean that to sound like I'm better than anyone, but like, I hope it's inspiring to somebody who might be in a situation where they feel trapped. Sure. Just go, and you will figure it. You will build that plane in the sky.
Don't be salty. Don't be envious. If you can do it, why can't you?
Yeah, okay? Exactly.
It's the same thing. If it can be done, someone else proved that they can do it.
Yeah.
Cut out all the bullshit excuses that you have. People have been in worse situations than what you're currently in, and they've made it out. Okay, this is one example of how, if you're persistent and you believe in yourself, you can do it. You can do it too. Just you gotta believe in yourself. And yeah. Also, sell yourself. Please.
Where can people find you?
Where can people find you?
So you can find me. My business is my other baby, and it's called Ink Angel, and we're located in Fort Lauderdale. We specialize in all things cosmetic tattooing. We do lashes as well. And I also train women how to do what I do and how to build a business to 6 figures. So I'm launching a mentorship program in January. And I love what I do. Like, I'm obsessed with what I do. Awesome. And you can find me at @the_Ink Angel, or my personal Instagram, the Stevi D.
When you say, what is it that you do? What do you do?
Cosmetic tattooing is
like what?
Like brows, lips. It's a semi-permanent tattoo that enhances your beauty. Like brows, even for men, brows are one of the top 10 things that can make you attractive or not.
I got good brows.
You have great brows. Your brows are good too.
But you know, you can work on them.
Yeah.
Think so?
You guys have great brows.
I think my brows are good.
Marvin got so self-conscious
like,
there.
you think so?
He like looks at me like, do I?
What do you think?
You know what he needs? You got to do those the permanent things, but on his upper lip. You got to fix that mustache.
It's called FMP.
FMP.
Well, I think it's like follicle micropigmentation or something. Facial micropigmentation.
That's what I need. That's what I need.
I do scalp micropigmentation. I do anything tattooing that is cosmetic. I'll do it.
There you go.
I'm obsessed.
There you go. Beautiful,
and then I train you how to do it too.
Yeah. There you go. And then train you how to make a 6-figure business too if you believe in yourself.
Heck yeah.
There you
go. You can make a lot of money in this business. It's crazy.
Especially in Miami.
Yeah.
Anything from you?
No, it was very refreshing. I had a good time.
I really did. So I'm gonna have my sign up. I gotta tell you, the one thing that I wanted to say is, and I don't want to say I did, but never judge a book by its cover, because we were talking a lot about how, you know, when you meet someone and you go on a date and, you know, then you start talking and then they have this vision of you, or then maybe, it's not like the Instagram or the way that you start talking, they start to jump the gun. Yeah. So I kind of wanted to kind of put that around where it's like, just talk and be normal, right? Like try to be as normal as possible, but talk and listen and just be authentic within yourself. If you are authentic, you're going to show your authentic self and you're going to attract people who are authentic as well. And if you're both being authentic and it doesn't vibe with one another, then easy, boom, no more time wasted. We know we don't click. Awesome. Move along. But if you are authentic and you meet someone that's authentic and then you click, this is where great relationships are formed. So even with us right now, I didn't know you before you came in here. You reached out to us, but I feel a very good chemistry with you. I'm so happy that you came on and the conversation that we had. I learned so much. I hope you did as well.
Absolutely.
And it's connections like this and being able to just listen and meet people and seeing where it can take you, because at the end of the day, maybe we can form a business relationship together that can be you know, great, or we could just be amazing friends. You never know. And it all comes down to just being open to meeting people and just listening to them and actually giving them an opportunity to speak and create those relationships and those kind of foundations with people. But it all comes with really being open and listening to people and giving them a chance to speak, not just thinking, well, we're on a date, we fucking? Yeah. No, it's like there's more to that. So give people a chance to really speak and yeah, just be open to the world, be open to love, being open to everybody.
Love it.
That's it. Yeah. Make those connections, you know. Yeah.
It's very important. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for another episode. If you've watched us this far, you're on Patreon, listening to us Spotify and iTunes. We're on social media, link in bio. You can figure it out. Yeah, we'll put it in the description. Stevie, thank you so much.
Stevie, thank you so much. You were lovely.
Awesome. Love you.
Thank you.
Next time, guys. Peace out.
Ciao.
Bye.